Can!
It's almost!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle.
Hi, welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, India is striving to set gold standards in fitness. Many India cricketers were busy taking fitness tests over the weekend, like the newly introduced Bronco. Of course, this comes at a time when Pakistan's Azam Khan made a bizarre comment about not being able to focus on his fitness because he was busy playing cricket instead. We continue building up to the Asia Cup that's around the corner. If Luis Suarez is not biting, he's spitting. The MLS footballer sparked a massive row after Inter Miami lost the League's Cup final by spitting on a support staff of the opponent's team. How is Suarez being let off this way, and is it time he faced the music? Speaking of facing the music, the last Grand Slam of the year, US Open, is becoming more about controversies and less about the tennis. After Ostapenko and Townsend racism storm, Tsitsipas decided to threaten his opponent. Have players learned nothing from the previous week, and how has it impacted the wrongdoers? And the Formula One race over the weekend has been the subject of a raging meme fest. Ferrari and Charles Leclerc caught in this one. His crash generating a huge reaction fest. We bring you all the latest on this. But first, the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with cricket, the International Cricket Council, or the ICC, has announced a record-breaking prize pool for the 2025 Women's World Cup. A total of $13.8 million will be rewarded, a 297% increase from the 2022 edition. It is also more than the 2023 Men's World Cup, where the prize pool was $10 million. The winner at the 2025 event will get $4.4 million. The runners-up will take home $2.2 million, and the semi-finalists will be each rewarded $1.1 million. Afghanistan and UAE will observe a minute's silence before the start of their Tri-Series later today. This is to offer condolences to the victims of the tragic earthquake in Afghanistan's eastern provinces. Over 800 people died in the disaster. On to tennis and the US Open. Former world number one Novak Djokovic broke his own record of becoming the oldest player to reach the quarterfinals of all slams in one season. He achieved this after beating Jan-Lennard Struff in straight sets. Meanwhile, world number one Aryna Sabalenka has entered the quarterfinals as well. She beat Kristina Buxa 6-1, 6-4. On to football. Liverpool edged past Arsenal 1-0 in a nervy Premier League battle. In the top of the table clash, Dominic Szoboszlai scored the only goal of the match. This is Arsenal's first loss of the season. The Premier League defending champions Liverpool haven't lost a match so far. And summing it up with athletics, India has announced their squad for the upcoming World Championships. Two-time Olympic medalist Neeraj Chopra will lead the 19-member contingent. 14 men and 5 women will compete at the event across 15 disciplines to be conducted later this month. India's biggest medal hope, Neeraj, is the defending champion in javelin. India is going hammer and tongs on player fitness. They've introduced the Bronco Test. We spoke about it just last month. It's inspired by rugby, one of the toughest endurance tests in sport. Meanwhile, our neighbours, Pakistan, instead of raising the bar, they're busy making excuses. One of their cricketers, Azam Khan, often criticised for being overweight, has now come up with a bizarre explanation for why he isn't focusing on his fitness. And that only exposes the stark difference between the two countries when it comes to maintaining gold standards in a sport with the intent to excel. Over the weekend, India conducted their first ever series of Bronco tests along with the yo-yo, an initiative that was backed by strength and conditioning coach Adrian Leroux. So what's a Bronco test? Here's a quick recap. It's a series of running bursts of varying distances. A set comprises 20 meters, 40 meters and 60 meter sprints. Cricketers are asked to do 5 sets of these. That's 1,200 meters in total. And this has to be completed under 6 minutes for the Indian players. As brutal as it sounds, it is one of the toughest benchmarks in modern sport.
It's one of the worst you can do. I've been doing it ever since I was 16 years old. In the cold winter mornings of South Africa in particular, so not a lot of oxygen and those lungs would burn.
Now, if one of the fittest athletes in cricket calls it a challenge, you know it's no joke. There were doubts about how the Indian players would handle it all, but guess what? Even India's ODI skipper Rohit Sharma, a man often trolled for his fitness, rather the lack of it, not only cleared the test but reportedly impressed everyone with his timings. Nevertheless, forget the results. The very fact that something like the Bronco Test was introduced at all tells you how seriously India is taking up fitness. No exceptions, no favourites here. The same standard for everyone. You are no captain, no youngster or a seasoned campaigner when it comes to clearing the fitness test in this country. And across the border, the mindset couldn't be any different.
My weight loss won't happen in a couple of weeks or days. It needs time. For the past 4 or 5 years, I have been playing a lot of cricket, so I didn't have the chance to properly focus on my fitness.
Really too much cricket to focus on fitness? That's like saying I have been in a committed relationship for 4 to 5 years, so there was no time for love. Someone needs to tell him to play cricket, any sport in fact for the matter, at the highest level. You need to be fit in the first place. This attitude has haunted Pakistan cricket for years. Former director Mohammad Hafiz even revealed that before the 2023 World Cup, the management literally told trainers to ignore fitness tests.
I asked the trainer why the players aren't able to go through the tests. He said that the last management, comprising Mickey Arthur, Grant Bradburn and Babar Azam, asked him to put the fitness equation out and let the players play how they wanted to play till the World Cup.
The result? A group stage exit. And when foreign coaches like Gary Kirsten and Jason Gillespie tried to bring back discipline, they were shown the door. So what do you get? A culture where fitness is treated as an option, where players believe cricket and fitness are two separate things. That's the difference between India and Pakistan. India is setting global benchmarks. Pakistan is still searching for shortcuts. India's captain sets the tone. Pakistan's players look for excuses. India embraces hard work. Pakistan continues to live in denial. And yet their stars like Haris Rauf claim they can beat India in the Asia Cup that's around the corner. But the truth is simple. Before the first ball is bowled, the gap is already there for all to see. Because in modern cricket, fitness is non-negotiable. And until Pakistan realizes that, they will never catch up. Because India is running laps ahead. Pakistan is still catching its breath. It was deja vu at the League's Cup final between Inter Miami and Seattle Sounders. For Miami, another heartbreak, the same old story of coming so close yet so far. Sounders defeated Lionel Messi's men 3-0. But more than the scoreline, it was the explosive spitgate that robbed all headlines. Because once again, Luis Suarez, once branded the biter, returned in a new ugly avatar. He initiated a brawl and spat at a member of the opposing staff. The question writes itself, when will Suarez learn? And is it time football imposes a heavy ban on such behavior? Now first, let's lay out what really happened. Star-studded Inter Miami were gunning for the League's Cup trophy. But against the Seattle Sounders, even their best weapon seemed blunt. They were blown away 3-0, and instead of accepting defeat like a professional would, at the final whistle, Suarez let his temper boil over. It sparked an ugly confrontation with the opposition. But it didn't end there. Suarez engaged in a heated verbal spat with Seattle's Director of Security, Gene Ramirez, and then came the act that shocked everyone. Suarez spat at him. And here's the bigger picture. This is not an isolated outburst. This is a pattern, a history of repeated disgraceful behavior. 3 bites, 3 different players, 3 suspensions. In 2010 with Ajax, Suarez sank his teeth into PSV's Otman Bakal. In 2013 in the Premier League, he bit Chelsea's Branislav Ivanovic. In 2014, on the world's biggest stage, the FIFA World Cup, he bit Giorgio Chiellini. That last one forced FIFA to ban him from all football for 4 months. Now, you would think that was lesson learned, but we have come more than a decade since, and Suarez hasn't changed one bit. Sure, back then he was called a fiery youngster, but today, what's the excuse? Even this year, he was caught biting again, this time his teammate Jordi Alba. He thought Alba was his opponent. Think about that. This isn't passion anymore, it's a problem. And now with spitting, Suarez has once again crossed the line. And here's what makes it worse. This isn't even the first spitgate in MLS. Houston's Hector Herrera was banned 3 matches last season for spitting on a referee. Real Salt Lake's Jasper Lofelsen got a 2-match suspension for spitting at an opponent this year. So far, the punishments have been soft. Barely a rap on the knuckle, but Suarez, he's not a first-time offender, he's a repeat offender. And if MLS wants to protect the integrity of the sport, the punishment has to be harsh. Because this is no longer about just one spit. It's about Suarez treating this game and its rules with total disregard, like his own fiefdom. Luis Suarez should be a shining example for the next generation. In an era of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, he carved out his own legacy as a world-class forward. Instead, that legacy is being buried under controversies, anger, bringing disrepute to the game and his team. Now, if MLS wants to send a message, not just to Suarez, but to every other player, this is the time. Because for Inter Miami, it was a defeat. For Suarez, it was disgraceful. The Uruguayan may be running out of chances, but football is clearly running out of patience. And for MLS, this is the moment to decide: indiscipline or accountability. The US Open has been an eventful one this year. While it has witnessed some good tennis, the controversies have headlined the Grand Slam more. Ostapenko finally came out of denial to apologize to her American opponent Taylor Townsend for the way she reacted and the words she used after her loss. There's in fact been another incident involving Stefanos Tsitsipas that's making me ask, are top tennis players feeling far too privileged than they actually should? Let's in fact first get all the bases covered in the Ostapenko-Townsend exchange. Even after the internet erupted, calling Ostapenko's remarks racist, the Latvian stood firm on the way she had responded and behaved on court, pointing the finger at Townsend instead. That Ostapenko lost her cool because Townsend did not apologize for a lucky net court shot. Tennis World and some other top women players rushed in to put up a mirror and educate Ostapenko on exactly what she had done. That while it was okay to be miffed about something not behaving the way you expect them to, the words she used had no business anywhere, on or off the court. So the penny probably finally dropped because Ostapenko resorted to her lack of prowess in the English language and put up an apology. It took some days for Ostapenko to come to this and realize how wrong her approach, her mannerisms and her words actually were. Townsend, while acknowledging and accepting the apology, reiterated what Ostapenko and many of her supporters clearly missed.
That's nice that she apologized. Like I said when everything first happened, you cannot push your expectations on other people. I really hope from this she can take that you can't control people, and it's better just to focus on yourself.
But even this episode doesn't seem to have woken up too many of the others on the circuit. Just a day after the Ostapenko's Townsend showdown, Tsitsipas had a run-in with his opponent, 56th ranked Daniel Altmaier. He won the first set, but Tsitsipas came back to take the next two. In the fourth set, Altmaier used the legal but often controversial underarm serve to upset his higher-ranked opponent. Now, Tsitsipas was furious and slammed a forehand right at Altmaier during that set. He, of course, raised his hand in a gesture of apology, but that was not forgotten, nor was it a mistake. It was intentional, and he made that evident when they met at the net after the match. It was a match that he lost, and I wonder if he would have reacted differently had he won that 5-set duel. But the underserve is a cheeky shot, no doubt, though it is legal. You can upset the rhythm of the opponent, sure, but that's how sport is. The point is to do all you can within the rules of the game to ensure you win. And yes, while you can show your frustration or anger, where do you draw the line? Ostapenko crossed the line where she targeted and almost bullied Townsend by calling her uneducated, a taunt that cannot sit well with, in Townsend's own words, the people she fights to represent proudly. In this case, Tsitsipas crossed the line when he almost attacked his opponent. Hitting right at him was something Altmaier could have appealed against, but he showed more calmness and maturity in the situation than his more accomplished and experienced opponent.
Even if I would have lost, I would not enter discussions because it's just like the heat of the moment. You need to cool down.
There's a place and a time to vent, to express. Sport is nothing without emotion and passion, yes. But when that comes in the way of respecting the person across the net, respecting the game, then you have to pay for it. There has to be consequences for any such act, a lesson to think before you act again, and a chapter for the next generation to take a leaf out of. The Dutch Grand Prix turned out to be a smashing affair, pun intended. It was one of the most exciting Grand Prix of this season. Oscar Piastri extended his lead at the top by winning the race. Max Verstappen returned to form after finishing second at home. But more than that, it was the accident. In fact, the accidents involving Ferrari's Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc and McLaren's Lando Norris that made all the buzz. And while the race ended unfortunately for the trio, fans saw the funny side of it all, especially Leclerc crashing. The driver retired, but instead of going back to the paddock, he sat around the skirt, leading to a meme fest online. Take a look at some of the best reactions that exploded on the internet. On that note, we wrap it up here on Firstpost. To stay on to more updates and more reactions from the world of sport. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.